All right, it's your boy, Head Coach Ross of the Attacks Gym, and I want to address something that not only happened to me, myself, any number of times in my personal experience, but also recently happened to one of my older brothers in the self-defense systems, particularly a practitioner of Kung Fu, brother by the name of Leroy. What's up, Leroy? He's one of my older brothers. In the fighting systems that are frequently miscalled the martial arts. In this case, he, like I, have been accosted by individuals who who don't really know the history of their art. Uh, Leroy is a Kung Fu practitioner among other fighting systems, and found out getting himself in this discussion. What happened with me was I'm practicing my fighting system, my family's fighting system of Injia Uhuru, which is a Swahili term. It means the way of freedom, the path of freedom. And oftentimes people who watch me move will mistake my techniques for Kung Fu. And I wind up getting into a really interesting discussion with them. They suppose that Kung Fu is older than my fighting art because of the popular propaganda surrounding the Chinese arts. And indeed, the Chinese arts are ancient. But here's something that most people do not know. The arts of China and the original populace of China are all African. The original people of that area, not only just China, but all of the Pacific Rim, all of it, and all of Southeast Asia, all of it. The original people, the builders of the original civilizations, the creators of the original fighting systems, they're all African. When I say African, I mean of African phenotype. Clearly, they're not in the continent of Africa because they are in Southeast Asia or the Pacific Rim or what have you. But they are clearly of African phenotype in the same sense that Europeans who sailed from England to the United States didn't stop being European or of European phenotype. They just simply migrated from one place to another. That's precisely what we Africans did. Now, I know. A lot of you are going, oh, no, that's not true. It's not true. You're trying to co-opt the achievements of other people and all that other stupid stuff, which we're not. And since none of you would actually go and do something sensible, like actually do your own research and read a book. I know the concept of a book terrifies you. You're probably going like, oh no, I'll never read a book. And truthfully, the book was the first thing that came to my mind. A book like Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's African Presence in Early Asia. Let me show it to you. African Presence in Early Asia, which compiles an amazing array of scientific data and evidence and pictures from first-line sources in China, proving beyond a doubt every letter of what I just stated. Since I know none of you guys are going to do that, I probably scared half of you off just by showing you the cover of the book. You're probably like, oh no, and probably ran away. You know what I mean? Like a vampire or a werewolf was chasing you. Since I know none of you are going to do that, let me start trying to give you some areas and resources that you and your .com brain can operate with. And for those of you who are cool with what I'm saying, who actually read a book, check that out. Go read those books and get properly informed. Okay, let me quote from some of the experts of this field here who verify what I'm talking about. I'm about to quote from the renowned. I'm checking my notes. I write notes. You guys should check. You should do the same. I'm quoting from the renowned researcher and professor Chang Xinlang, who noted this in his work. I'm familiar with his work. I read this, but I'm going to tell you about it. Noted this in his work titled "The Importation of Negro Slaves to China Under the Tang Dynasty." This is a quote from his works here. Quote, "Even the sacred Manchu dynasty shows the Negro strain. The lower part of the face of the Emperor Puyi of Manchukuo direct descendant of the Manchu rulers of China, is most distinctly Negroid. That means they were all black. Now, you're probably hanging there with your jaw open and immediately rejecting what I'm talking about. But you should not. Because this actually unifies us more as a human species and shows there's so much more of the saga of humanity that most of us, especially in the West, in the Western Hemisphere, are either entirely ignorant of or largely ignorant of. And we need to learn these things in order to interact with each other, respect each other, and love the story of humanity better and not repeat the mistakes of the past. Okay? Now let me continue. Okay? I'm going to cite another specialist. Back in 2005, the highly accomplished Chinese DNA specialist Jing Li collected and analyzed more than 12,000 DNA samples from 165 ethnic groups and found that literally not one person in their collection was not African or an African descendant. And this spanned the entirety of Southeast Asia. Remember I told you that everybody in Southeast Asia is of African extract? Yeah, that's the proof. And most of them still most of the people in Southeast Asia still carry African phenotype in their features, their skin colors, their range of colors, everything. The entirety of the classic Oriental, as opposed Oriental, quote unquote, I don't mean the offensive term Oriental. I'm talking about the location and the common phenotypes that goes along. Specifically, the epicanthic fold, you know, the slant in the eyes and the, what have you. That is an African feature. It was in Africa first. The entirety of the phenotype that you associate with classic Orient is in fact African. And let me go ahead and pull it up on my cell phone because I know you guys are not going to do it on your own. You're not going to be like, let me go and read a book. So I'm going to show you this. And the reason why it's so important that I'm able to pull this up with you on my cell phone is because it shows that here are the sources and you have no excuses for not informing yourself along these lines. And when you find yourself in a discussion with your friends and they start asking questions, use your cell phone the same way I am. I'm typing into my cell phone. I hope you can see it. It says the African San, S-A-N, S like Sam, A like Albert, N like never. San people, okay? Now, I'm going to pull them up and show you the pictures of them so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Pull up some images, let it load up. All right. Let me try to find some that are more, there's a whole array of pictures here. I'm looking for some that are more along the lines of the kinds of discussions we have here. Let me, this is a good one, but not good enough for you. Here, I'm going to really just drive the point home here. Bear with me, everyone. I'm doing this on the fly. Okay, here's one picture of the San people. Of the San people. They look entirely Oriental and Asian. But they are literally living on the continent of Africa. Literally. Okay? So what I want you guys to do is pull that up and study it. The San people are genetically the oldest people in humanity, or in the top two, or tied for number one. Last I read, that the latest data I received is that they are actually genetically the oldest people living on Earth now. And they clearly express what is looked upon as the Oriental phenotype. So we see without a shadow of a doubt that that the Oriental phenotype, the slanted eyes, the cheekbones, etc., and so on and so forth, are in fact African features, and they're part of the African phenotype and the African genome. So be aware of these things, and don't be so rattled and shocked when I tell you, hey, you know what? This is not the system. The question isn't whether or not I'm practicing a Chinese art. The question really is, are these Chinese arts, what Chinese arts are not rooted in African arts and African people? The answer is none. All arts in China, Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, Pacific Rim, anywhere in that area at all, are rooted in the African people who migrated and settled the place, created the civilization, created the language, and created the fighting arts. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them at the end of this video in the comment section. If you want to fact check me, if you disagree with me, great. I'd love to hear from you. Write all of your disagreements, and you better bring your science. Bring the science to prove your terms. Your position, and use the proper terms. And leave them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to respond. If you agree with me, great. Don't just agree with me. Bring some facts to verify your position, and cite your sources, as I have done with you. And take this information and spread it all around so that we can all understand there's only one human race. That's the human species. And the rest, and the subdivisions of the human species are like the subdivisions of a tree. It's not only ridiculous to argue that a part of a tree is more of a tree than any other part of a tree, but those of us who understand the analogy recognize that you have to have all parts of the tree, from the inside to the outside, from the highest to the lowest, they actually have a tree. Let's do that. Take care of yourselves. If you have any other questions about anything, any historical issue, any technique, any sport, or what have you, holla at your boy. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Please support us. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Go to my website, Attacks Gym Street Warrior Capoeira at googlesites.com. Please purchase the products there. Please read the information I have there, which is listed from my blog. And my blog is called Capoeira That Works. It's on Blogger. Please check that out. Read it. Follow it. Share it with your friends. Share it on Facebook. Leave comments, because the more you interact with us, the more I'm able to bring material to you essentially for free, because that helps us pay the bills. All right? So holla at your boy. I love you. Asante sana. Ashe.